Does that look all right?
Mhm.
Looks like we're on. It says
Yeah.
the live
There
button.
we go. There we
That's
go.
a good thing for me. All right. Well, I think I think we got it all fired up. I'm talking into the little round ball with the blue eye, and I got the live signal. So I would ask for a favor, anyone who might be logged on, just send a comment that we're coming through okay, that you can hear us or see us. Uh, yeah, and then we will. I'll get started. A couple things. We had our afternoon session today. We had a really good. I felt like we had a good conversation this afternoon. We talked a little bit about things going on in the department, um, things we have upcoming in the new year. Can't 2023. Ralph, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Ralph, are we sounding okay? Can you see us okay? Everything good on your end? I was just looking for some. Mindy, how are you? Thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate that. I can see and hear you fine. Perfect. Thank you, Ralph. So we'll talk about a couple of things we have going on in the department, but I will certainly want to say the majority of the conversation today was about the tragedy we had from January 6th on our shooting at elementary school here in Newport News. We had some really good conversation, some good dialogue. There's really some really good questions, some good suggestions and advice and thoughts and ideas, and that's really what this is about. It's a time we set aside. We do 2 sessions a month, both on the same day, one at 12 in the afternoon and one at 6 in the evening, where just kind of take some questions and have some interaction. It's trying to be open and transparent as it possibly can. Let me say hi to some folks, Sarah, and then I'm going to. So, by the way, Sarah's here with me tonight, handling
Hello.
all the controls. I'm not touching anything. And if you didn't hear her, she said hello. So let me just say, Mindy, thank you. Ralph, again, thank you. Is it ITIS? Am I reading that right? ITIS. I don't want to say that wrong. Somebody help me out with the enunciation there. Angela. Oh, sounds okay. Good. Dennis. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you being here. Linda, thank you coming through loud and clear. Good. Thank you.
Go back up.
Ms. Cox, thank you for being here. I appreciate Carrie again, everything that you're doing to help us in relationship with the community and interacting. Hi, Chief. Been a while since I've got you out on Styron Square. Oh my gosh! I'm in Los Angeles, California. Well, my friend, I hope all is well. I'm not sure what you're doing out there in Los Angeles, California, but please be safe and get back here where you belong. You know what I mean? And Sarah gets a hi, Sarah. Nice.
Hello.
It is what it is. Got it. Annie, it's good to have you here. Yep, Sarah is behind the camera and making sure I don't mess anything up. Janice, thank you for being here. I appreciate that.
Here.
Eric, thank you. Eric, your question. So before I hit that, let's pause it right there. I know it'll probably jump as more come in, but I'll come back to Eric. First, Eric, thanks for being here tonight. It's a great question. As we go through, I will try to hit every single post. If I miss one, I'm going to apologize up front, charge it to my heart. I don't mean any disrespect by that. What happens is when the posts come in, sometimes they jump and we'll roll back and catch up. So you'll see me pause a few times and then catch back up. So I just wanted to share that with you. And the point of this conversation is you can ask questions and we'll have some interaction. I'll be as open and transparent as I can. I don't want to do anything or any issue at all where I would hurt a case under investigation. So if I can talk about it, I will. If I can't, I'll say what I can, but I don't want to hurt any investigations going on. I don't want to give anything away. Vanessa, thank you for being here. Annie, again, thank you. Was it Eric that had the question about Aaron's question about the update on the 7-Eleven Killing Creek homicide? I can tell you, Eric, they are making a lot of progress. I get briefed on that case pretty regularly. You know, every loss of life here in this city matters to me. Some are we have more information on the front end right away than we do on others. Others it takes us a little long to develop leads and people call in with some information. I will tell you, the lead detective on that case is one of the best detectives I have. They've been working very, very diligently, almost relentless, if you will. I have gotten some favorable news. I don't want to go too much more into that because there's a lot of things that are kind of right at that tipping point. But we are. Maybe you can read my body language, Eric. I am encouraged by some of the news I'm hearing about that case. I'm going to leave it right there. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. That's a great question. That's really what this is about tonight. Deborah, hello, Chief Drew. Deborah, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time on a Wednesday to sit down with me a little bit. Who did I miss? Vanessa, hello, Vanessa. Good to have you with us tonight. I got Deborah Hunter. That's okay. Hi, Chief Drew. Can you please offer an investigation timeline on the Rich Neck shooting? Additionally, are there any charges at this point? All right, so we're going to talk. We're going to probably spend a lot of time there tonight. Let me say hi to some people. And Hunter, I'm going to come back to you and spend some time with you. Man, thank you for being here. I thought I heard the local news say something that the kid's bag was searched by the school in the morning. How did they miss the gun? So, Dennis, I'm going to tie you in with Hunter's case. So am I caught up now with people on board?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room and what's going on in our community. So January 6th was a tragic event in our city. There was a shooting call at Rich Neck Elementary. That's an elementary school. It's our smallest students that we have, our youngest. When I got the call, I was here at headquarters. We immediately ran out of the building, and the first thing running through my mind, I think what most of us believe we were responding to, was an active shooter, someone that was going around the school firing rounds, firing a gun. I really want to appreciate the citizens of Newport News that were driving, that got out of the way, allowed vehicles to get through, respecting we don't turn those blue lights on just for nothing, and allowing us to get there. Once I got to the scene, I made my way up. I saw officers immediately running in the building. There was no hesitation whatsoever. When I got up and I started to get a briefing right there at the front doors of the school, it was relayed to me that we don't have a active shooter type situation where an individual is going through the school firing rounds off, that we had a school shooting inside one room. So what happened at this point is the individual that fired the round, one round, was a 6-year-old student, first grader, 6 years old. So it kind of took me back a minute, and I'm just sharing it with you, if you'll indulge me for a minute, just sharing a minute about, wow, it's not what I thought. Now, we still did a tactical situation, but a very, very structural evacuation of each room, hallway by hallway, classroom by classroom. And I want to pause there and just say I could not be more impressed with the work of the faculty and staff, and I don't just mean teachers, adults that were in that building, officers, sheriff deputies, how careful they were. I mean, moving those kids right along. What we did is we moved them all out into the, I would call it an auditorium or a multi-purpose room or a gym. There was like a stage in there from what I remember. But we brought all the kids in together, kept them with teachers, had officers in the room. And as counselors came, we put some there, but we didn't do too much until we got that school cleared. We still checked each room. We found some kids hiding in some different areas. But we wanted to make sure that everything was clear, just like we would if we had an active shooter type situation. So as the rooms were cleared, I saw officers and faculty escorting the students down the hallways into the auditorium there, the gym, and saw some tears. I saw not just on kids either. I saw officers and faculty holding children's hands, talking with them, interacting with them, some high fives going on, and just being there for them. That I will tell you, that is something I will never forget. It was very moving for me. The room where the shooting occurred, those students were taken to an individual room where we kept them separate from everyone else, and were able to work in school counselors when they arrived, and officers in that room, particular with the students who had witnessed or possibly witnessed what had occurred. We were able to locate and detain and eventually remove the 6-year-old child. He was escorted out of the building and taken into a police car, and then later transported downtown to police headquarters. The rest of the events at the school consisted of processing the scene there in the room. Like I put out before, we recovered a firearm, one firearm, a 9mm Taurus. We recovered a shell casing. a backpack, and a cell phone. That was taken into police custody by our forensics division. And we then started to have some interviews at the scene. I stayed on scene as we were joined by school board personnel, faculty members from the school, counselors from the school division, fire department. We had calls from surrounding jurisdictions and our federal partners that joined us. The next phase, Chief Hires and others organized a establishment of a check-in, as we wanted to make sure we got students back with their parents. And there were some parents that were very frustrated. Some parents that talked about, we didn't get notified, or we didn't hear this, we're not sure what's going on, and I want to see my child. I want to get to my, and I totally get it. Myself, the mayor showed up, several members of the school board and city council members, tried to keep parents informed. I tried to walk the line. As soon as the school was safe, I went to the media and just tried to put out that we don't have an active shooter type situation. We had just kind of what I've shared with you, and let parents know that the kids were in this room, this gymnasium, and we were going to get them back. It did take a while, but we wanted to make sure that we got children with family members, not just running to someone or having a lost child. We wanted to make sure we put family member in the hand and a child in the hand with family members. After that, myself, the mayor, Mayor Jones, and Dr. Parker, school superintendent, did a joint press conference there on the school grounds. I left there and then came to police headquarters where the child, and we had contacted his parents and asked them to meet us here. At that point, those interviews were conducted. I was able to partake in some of that. I was able to meet parents, and where we're at on the question on the timeline. At this point, well, let me just kind of continue where we're at. So that was Friday. Saturday afternoon, I went to the hospital. I met with the teacher, Abby Zwerner's family. I spent some time with them. They asked me if I would go up and see Abby. I was honored and also humbled. I didn't think I would be able to see her. Abby is 25 years old. She's her third year, I believe, teaching. And I got to talk to her a little bit. And she was in good spirits. Her first question to me was, how are my students? How are my kids? How are they? And that took me back. That would be the first thing she would ask. That told me a lot about her. So she is improving. I saw her again on Monday. I went to talk to her family again and get some releasable statements from Abby to make sure she was okay. We had a follow-up press conference at the school administration building last Monday, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to release her name, although I think media had it already, but we're not going to release it until she was okay with us to release it. An update on her condition, that she was now in stable condition, and paraphrase a statement that she wanted to put out, just thankful for people who'd been praying for her, checking on her, letting her students know she was okay and that she's improving. So to answer your question, was the question, how is that she is improving? I think she's gone back to the hospital a couple times, but had gotten released and then came back for some follow-ups. Timeline at this point, what we've been doing the last, what the shooting happened on the 6th, today's the 18th. What we've been doing is doing follow-up interviews, working with a psychologist who are interviewing the children that were in the classroom that the shooting happened. And that's been somewhat challenging. I wish we didn't have to do that, but to try to get as much information as we can. There's been joint meetings with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. Mr. Glenn reached out to me, called me that evening on Friday, and we've touched base a few times, been to a neighborhood community meeting. So there's follow-up interviews that are going on. There's still some things we clear up. You hear some rumors in the street and conversation. We got to deal with the facts. So there's some follow-up interviews to address some of those things we've heard to either prove that or disprove that. And I want to say if there are any Child Protective Service records, that's one thing that we want to go through and review. If there are any school records dealing with aggression or behavior, that's something we want to look at and go through. Putting all that together, sitting down with the Commonwealth Attorney when that is all compiled and gone through, and presenting that. And then whatever the facts are and the law, those things together will determine what happens next. So that's kind of where we're at. I get a briefing every day. There's some final interviews I think that will be completed this week on some availability of others that we want to talk with. But right now, it's reviewing records, having those following up interviews, getting the kids interviewed, working with the psychologist, and they have just been phenomenal. So that's sort of where we're at on the timeline. I understand frustration and questions, but I am not pushing them. I don't want them to skip anything. We're going to do a thorough investigation, the interviews, the process, reviewing the records, putting a good time frame together, and then presenting that to the Commonwealth Attorney. There's been some conversation, and the Commonwealth Attorney has helped us, and these are some questions we would like additional ask to some of the individuals we're interviewing to clear this up, to make sure we understand that process, and did this happen, did that happen? So there's been some second interviews that had to be scheduled, and that's sort of where we're at with the timeline. So that was a great question. I just wanted, I hope I answered it. That's kind of where we're at this point. So I think I answered that. I thought I heard local news say something to the kids. Oh, so school superintendent had a meeting with, I believe it was primarily teachers and students, families from Rich Neck Elementary. There was a question, they put out some information that they had gotten information or a tip that there may be a gun on campus, and I think they said that they had searched a backpack. So the question was, I'm reading it here, was the child's backpack searched by the school in the morning? How did they miss the gun? So what I can tell you is that so far in our investigation, what I'm going to release and share with you is stuff that I've said before. That we know that a 6-year-old little boy was able to obtain a firearm. The firearm was purchased by his mother legally out of, I believe it was York County. Little boy was able to locate that firearm. He placed it in a backpack. He took that firearm to school. He was taken to school by family members. At some point, he removed that firearm and had it on his person. Shortly after recess, Miss Zwerner, Abby was teaching, instructing. There was no altercation. She was teaching and providing instruction. He pulled out his firearm, or that firearm. He displayed it, pointed it, and fired. He fired one round. Miss Zwerner, again, this is her allowing me to release this. She took a defensive position where she put her hand up. The round entered the palm of her hand. It exited the rear of her hand, striking her in her chest. And that is much as I'm going to say about her injury. So when we processed the crime scene, the room, we recovered a firearm, a backpack, a spent shell casing, and a cell phone. So I don't know more, and I don't want to go into more. Some of that's been cleaned up with interviews. On your question, Dennis, if I'm reading that right, they searched the school. They searched the backpack this in the morning. How did they miss the gun? So all I can tell you is at some point the child took the firearm out of the backpack and concealed it on his person. So I don't. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at there. Did I hit everybody, Sarah? Who's right above? Let me see what's above Dennis. Hunter. Yeah. So I was trying to address Hunter and Dennis there together. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell Sergeant I was, and who approved Sheriff Robertson to serve a 4-day eviction notice. Catch you later. Please be safe and get back when you can, my friend. Judith, I think I gave the update on Abby, how she's doing. I've visited her family twice, and Abby twice in the hospital, and I've called and talked to a family member a couple times to have a point of contact. I just talked to them on, it was either, I think it was Sunday after I went to church. I believe I talked to them on Sunday, but it might have been Monday. But I believe it was Sunday afternoon after I got out of church, just to see how she was doing. Ralph, did you happen to update to the passenger in the car from the motorcycle accident? Is that, Ralph, help me, is that motorcycle accident the one that ended in a death?
I think so.
Did you happen to have an update to the passenger in the car from the motorcycle accident? I just don't want to comment, Ralph. I want to make sure that's the right one that we're talking about. Somebody asked me about the motorcycle accident, had a little bit more detail this afternoon, and they asked if speed, if the racing was and it absolutely was speed, certainly was a factor. But I'm not sure you're talking about the same one that I was talking about. So I'll have to check on that. Annie, 6 years old is just hard to wrap once. Annie, it is hard. It's unprecedented for us. I know there was a shooting in, I think it was in the year 2000, where a 6-year-old had a firearm in Flint, Michigan. there's another student there. This was dealt with a student firing at a teacher. I'll tell you, it's still hard for me. When I get home in the evenings, before I get out of this uniform, I really is this. It's just not what I expected when I got to the school and the process. And as you go through and you talk to different media outlets, and I'm making sure I try to stay consistent and as open and transparent as I can. But it takes me back to. We have a group here in the police department called the Young Adult Police Commissioners. This is a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior in every high school. And we meet every Wednesday for about 3 hours. And today, they were learning about integrity. And when I got to go down and see them, I will often talk to them about things before I do a press conference or have some real conversations with them. And so I talked to these students today about how they felt about SROs in the classroom, how they felt about metal detectors, what they had heard about this incident. And they had heard bits and pieces, and they were kind of the same size in that breakdown of students as what I'm seeing in the community. Some were shocked, some were, I can't believe this happened. Some were for metal detectors, some were against metal detectors. Most were for school resource officers in schools. Some were, well, where are we at in the case, and is there an arrest here, and is there an arrest there? And we just talked about, doing a thorough investigation and making sure that we had the facts collected and not just running off of emotion. Remembering that we're dealing with a tragedy. We're dealing with an individual who suffered a gunshot wound in a classroom. We're dealing with a classroom of 6-year-olds who witnessed a shooting. We're dealing with the trauma of students and faculty who were inside the school. We're dealing with the frustration of parents of not knowing right away and their fear and their worry about getting their kids back. We're dealing with officers who are have kids themselves that are escorting kids in that situation. We're dealing with how it's affected our community, the press in our region and in the state and now across the country. But I'm also cognizant that we're also dealing with a suspect here who is 6 years old. And all those things form pieces to this puzzle. There's a lot of questions. How did one get this firearm? How did they get it to school? And when did he remove it from his backpack? So all of those things are being uncovered in the investigation. I know a lot of those answers, but I can't put some of that out now. But your question it is a lot to take in, and it makes you sit back and just think. I think that's why, like right now, I'm waking up about every hour at night, and my mind just feels like it's a whirlwind, and thinking of things. So it is unreal. It's unprecedented for us here in Newport News, and I hope that I never have to respond to a scene like that again. I will say this. I've said it before. I believe that Abby Zwerner is a hero. I believe she saved lives. She was the last one to exit her room. I got to see a little bit of the video in the hallway where those kids ran out of that room. She was able to get them out of the room. She was the last one out. She went down the hallway and stopped and turned around to make sure her kids were safe before she proceeded down the hallway and went to the office where she got some medical treatment there from staff and faculty as they were working with the dispatcher over the phone, giving instructions on how to assist her until medics arrived. But I was thoroughly impressed with the officers who entered that building right away, sheriff deputies and officers, and just how everyone came together to work as one team in dealing with a tragic situation. Joy, thank you. Joy, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for being here tonight. Can you tell us where the 6-year-old is now? I remember you saying he faced a judge. So, Joy, you're correct. I can tell you that he was in front of a judge. I cannot tell you. I'm not allowed to share with you where that child is right now. And I'm not sure that as we go forward that I'll be kept in the loop. I think they got to make sure they take care and get services and treatment to that child. But I am not allowed. And I don't want to hurt anything by saying where that child is at this point. Thank you for praying. I appreciate that. Dennis, good to have you here, and thank you. Devon, this is great of how transparent you guys are being with the investigation. Great job. Devon, I'll tell you, I appreciate that. I know some people are frustrated and well, why hasn't this happened yet? Why hasn't that happened yet? And I just tried to explain that this is a process. We're going to work it through. I don't want to push those detectives. We're not going to rush through it. We're dealing with a 6-year-old, and I know there's a lot of unanswered questions. there's a lot of questions that have been answered, and they're just now refining some things. So I'll deal with some of the frustration. I get that, but I do not want to put pressure on those detectives to skip things. I want them to do a thorough investigation. I want them working hand in hand with the Commonwealth Attorney in those reviews, and then the Commonwealth Attorney will make the determination based on the facts, the evidence of what we have as we go forward. So I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. What happened to the kids' parents? Vanessa, so I can tell you that we have done interviews, and some of those things are ongoing, and collecting evidence and information to determine anything else, and then we will kind of go from there. Depending on where the facts lead us, we'll determine the next step. Thanks for that. Oh, you're very welcome. And did you get that picture from the peace rally? I did. I did, and thank you. I appreciate that. I got Ralph. Ralph, thank you, my friend. Oh, so Ralph, are you saying yes to the motorcycle? So I can tell you that the motorcycle accident that I'm referring to, there was some racing going on. There was some speed going on. It definitely played a factor. It got updated about that incident. And I'm a little concerned about some of the things I've been seeing on our roads in Newport News, whether it's vehicle racing or motorcycle racing or disregarding high rates of speed. There's no call for that. We've tried to get a better responding with multiple vehicles when we have those situations going on, but there was a car accident about a month and a half ago where someone lost their life for racing back and forth, and then the motorcycle accident that occurred. I don't have an update on the motorist in the vehicle, but I can tell you speed was a huge issue, and reckless driving was a huge issue that played a role in that. And it was just a bad, tragic outcome. But metal detectors are good, but only if they follow established policy and procedure. I took my son in late one day and bypassed the detector on the way to the office. It wasn't staffed. He said it rarely has to go through them, and he's a high schooler. Mr. Jones, I will tell you, it's funny you say that because I got a lot of the same responses from students today that I talked to in high schools. Some said they have them, some said they didn't. And you and I both know that high school students are resilient, and if they want to get around a metal detector, they're going to. I don't know if it's the best thing. I got to attend, I guess we'll call it a summit. Bobby Scott, Congressman Bobby Scott, had a group together with some researchers and psychologists that had studied. And I will tell you, the first three that spoke, just being open and transparent, and it surprised me. The first three that spoke that said that their studies showed that not to make a emotional reaction, and that metal detectors can do harm to a child's psyche long term. And they talked about the same thing you just said, that people can get around them. How are you staffing them? Who's going to interact if there's something? There's just some really good points that came up that I didn't think about. You hit one of them. So I will tell you, I don't know. The students asked me, I don't know the right answer. I asked the students today, a group of about 20 kids. We had 24 kids, and some said they would like to have metal detectors, and some said they wouldn't. And most said that you could get around them if you wanted to. And they were, now these are all high school kids that I'm talking to, but they almost mirrored exactly what you just said. So that's a very good point. Ralph, the accident in Jefferson where the motorcyclist died, I was a witness to the accident, but haven't heard any more about the passengers in the car. Yeah, so Ralph, I'm sorry. Then yeah, I could tell you about the motorcyclist in that situation. I don't have a good solid update that I can share with you about the motorist. Certainly, if you're asking about injury, if they're okay, we know what happened with the motorcyclist, but I don't have an update for you. If you send us a message or message us or send a number in, I can get you some information sent back just on welfare in general. But I will tell you this, Ralph, I'm sorry you had to witness that. I don't know how much of it you saw, or if you saw the whole thing, but some of the driving that we've seen going on some of our thoroughfares is very, very concerning to me. The recklessness, the boldness, and how it ends. We've now had an individual in a vehicle that has been deceased from racing or speeding like that, and now a motorcyclist, and it is very, very concerning. Tammy, is she responding to somebody else?
Yeah.
Okay. Robert, thank you. I will tell you, I was very humbled to speak with Abby, and she is amazing. Like I said, this is about her third year, I believe, teaching. And I'll just share with you, look, I'm just being transparent with you as we have this conversation tonight. My mother taught third grade for 30 years in an elementary school in Cincinnati area. And I will tell you, when we have calls to school, I'm a little attached to that. I can remember when I was in elementary school and my mom would come home and talk about her day in class. I remember even in middle school or in high school. When I was in college, I would come back home and I would hear her talk about this is what we're learning and doing today. I'll tell you this story. I played baseball in college and brought one of my friends from college home, and we stopped in to see my mom in her class, and they were taking a geography test, right? So they were placing the 50 states on the map, and I was helping a student. It was like, no, not there. Right? I was pointing, and my mother walked over and said, so I was my first year in college, and my mother walked over and said, if you're going to help someone, please give them the right information. I messed up. I messed up North Dakota and South Dakota. So, yeah, North and South, I get it, but I messed it up. So, anyway, I just remember that. So I have a heart for teachers. I get it. It is a hard job. I appreciate what they do in classrooms and dealing with different personalities. I get it. And so, yeah, when we get a call to a school, it does affect me. We are dealing with what is going through this 6-year-old boy's mind. People are all ready to persecute him. And I read an article that called him a menace to society. That hurt me. Please have compassion on him too. You know, Ms. Washington, I totally get it. Yeah, I understand. Like I said, it is unprecedented. And I got to make sure that we remember that. I know that our Commonwealth Attorney is very cognizant of that. We've had that conversation that what happened was wrong. It was tragic. But I'm trying to look at all the different facets. I think that's why I'm having trouble sleeping, because you're right. The individual who pulled a trigger and shot someone in a classroom is 6 years old. And I totally get what you're saying. It's a great point. Joy, thank you. You've handled this whole situation. Well, Joy, it's Joy, right? Joy, I would say I am sure I've made 100 mistakes. I was looking, there's no blueprint. I don't have a step plan to follow. So I'm just trying to be open and hold the case integrity together, work with our Commonwealth Attorney, work with our medical professionals that provide treatment, and our detectives, just encouraging them and hold the line. I know this is hard. Keep doing what we're doing. We're going to evacuate this school and this classroom just like we would anything else. We're going to process the crime scene, but it is very, very different. And because of the age groups that we're dealing with and where this occurred, so I appreciate that. I would just say I'm doing the best I can, but I'm sure I have made 100 mistakes. Robert, any impact on our police and first responders with COVID infection rate moved to high locally? Robert, I have to say I have not. I have not seen a lot of. We had some of that when COVID first broke out, but I have not seen it impacting our department in any major ways. Now, I've had some people test positive where they've been out and are back to work within a week and a half, but I have not seen any high vacancy rates or infections or things like that. So, knock on wood, God's blessing us, and we're doing okay right now. Vanessa, Vanessa, thank you. I appreciate that earlier today and being here today. That means a lot. Thank you. Jennifer, so grateful to have you. Is there anything set up to help the families dealing with the trauma? The community can be a part of it. Jennifer, it's a great question. I'm sure there are services being offered by the school and counseling and conversations. I've heard them talk about a few of those programs. I don't want to quote them. I know I won't get them right. But I think most of that is being handled through the school, dealing with families and students, faculty and staff, those type things. We have a department psychologist that if we felt like any of our officers need to sit down and just have a conversation to make sure they're okay, let them know I'm worried about them, those type things. But there are services provided by the school. But you made a good point, because I talked about the department, I talked about the school and families. But there's also concerns for other schools and communities, and that's a great point. Keith, hey, Keith, my friend, how are you, sir? Good evening, Chief. Earlier today you talked about firearm safety, and I mentioned the NRA Eagle program. Reach out to the Freedom Outdoor Shooting Range over in Virginia Beach. Great stuff. NRI certified instructors. I'm sure you guys can come. Yeah, we're familiar with the Eddie Eagle program. I think they looked at it at one time. We don't have SROs in our elementary schools. I remember the DARE program when I was a kid. I'd like to see us get back to something like that. So I think that's a great program. And I'm familiar with those who have it around. We have looked at it before. We might even have bought the suit and the outfit. But we've got some issues we have to address with staffing on that. But it is a good program. I think it's valid. I think anything you talk about on gun safety is important. We were one of the parents, I believe, or someone I talked to earlier today, talked about maybe when we have school orientation that there's something built in about gun safety. Now, I would have never thought we'd be in a place where we had to talk about that, but maybe it's a brochure or a handout or a booth, right? Just some conversation about firearms out of the reach of children, that type of thing. And it was an interesting post that someone had put up there. So, I appreciate that. Hunter, thank you, Chief, for answering my earlier question. Would like to ask a follow-up. Are there any charges yet in the Richnet case? Hunter, at this point, no. The investigation is still ongoing. They're still collecting the information, doing some follow-up interviews. Most of those interviews, I think, will be done by the end of this week, or if not, by the middle of next week. They're staying in contact with the Commonwealth Attorney and keeping them abreast of what we have, and there may be some follow-up questions. There's a couple rumors floating around out there in the community that we want to go back and ask. And then we're starting the review of the records, if there are any records from the school, and if there are any records from Child Protective Services, to go through those and see what we have there, and put all that in that investigation and submit it to the Commonwealth Attorney as a final package, and then allow them to make the decision on where we go. But as of right now, no one has been charged. This happened on the 6th. Today's the 19th, 18th. Today's the 18th. So we're about not quite 2 weeks into this situation, but they're moving along very well. They're about 2 or 3 days ahead of where I thought they would be at this point. But I want to make sure they're doing that thorough investigation, giving them the time that they need. But they are briefing me every day on what the situation is and where they're at. That's a great question. And that's wonderful. Andy, thank you. I appreciate that. Rich, there should be charges. The mother owned a gun and her child had access to it. So, Rich, I hear you. I'm hearing a lot from both sides. I can tell you that that decision will come once the investigation is completed. The facts are presented to the Commonwealth Attorney, who will then determine by what we have revealed in the investigation and what the law is in our state, and if there are any charges that will be applied at that point. But I'm going to give those detectives the time they need to do all the interviews. We're not going to do the investigation halfway. It's going to be complete and thorough, and I want to make sure we go through records, if there are any, and interviews. And like I said, one of the big hurdles was working with a psychologist to get the children, each child interviewed that was in the classroom. What did they see? And we are just about finished with that. And I'm, like I said, they're a little ahead of that where I thought they would be when we originally set up these interviews. I thought it would take us a little bit longer, but they're going pretty quickly. But Rich, I hear what you're saying. I understand. Robert, thanks for sharing about your mom and a great lesson learned. Any thoughts on the state gun legislation proposed yesterday? It would require gun owners to keep their firearms secured at home and their ammo secured in another location. Honestly, I don't think many folks who keep firearms for protection in their home would necessarily comply. Robert, you make good points. No, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other about the legislation. If I can't even say the word. I think that, for me, I don't think there's one solution. I think there are some schools here that have some pretty good track record and have some good models in place. I think a lot of it is about the sense of urgency, and when we hear things, responding to them. I think it starts at home with parents and interacting with our students and addressing behavior and responding to threats and social media posts, those type things. I remember years ago when someone make a threat, they're probably just playing. And now, when they're after Columbine and things that have happened, when it's always easy when something happens, you can go back, oh, well, this should have been something we picked up on. This should have been something. So we try to use a sense of urgency when we hear. I'll just use an example of a threat to shooting at a school through social media. One of the reasons we build relationships with students is they share that information with us. That I can't tell you the number of times we've gotten a message on Sunday night at midnight. Hey, this post just showed up that there's going to be a shooting at X elementary school or middle school or high school tomorrow. So we're calling and waking people up out of bed. Our crime analysts, we're kind of doing it threefold, making sure that we have officers at that school in the morning, interacting with our technology side of the house, our investigation side about who sent that post, where it come from, and then working with the criminal side of obtaining search warrants to go back and find out who that post belongs to, who's it's tied to, and any criminal charges. So there's a lot of different things that go into that, but I think we have to have a sense of urgency and respond to those things, and that's kind of how we were structured, and you've seen law enforcement change over the years, is we just don't take it as a threat. We just don't take it as light as someone just playing a joke. We just can't afford to anymore. Keith. I worked at a Colonial Shooting Academy in Richmond before I joined the Henrico Sheriff's Office. I used to talk to my customers all the time about firearm safety around the kids, how to keep them secure, to teach the kids about guns, etc. If I can help in any way, let me know. Keith, I appreciate that. You know, I'm not opposed to us doing some, posting some gun safety tips on our Facebook pages or getting them out there in social media. Maybe talking about gun lock boxes, gun locks, trigger locks, whatever it might be. I think those things are important. And oh, Chief, how many people are going to see it? I don't know. Maybe only one, but that one might make a difference. So that one might share. But I think that's one thing we've talked about here is posting some of those videos. And I'm sure you can find them anywhere on YouTube, but in venues where we're looking at on websites on how to secure a firearm safely, checking on it, and making sure it is where you left it, where you put it, where it was that morning. It's the same place that night and the next morning. So that's some. It makes me think, Keith. I appreciate that, my friend. Sarah, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. Is that looks like that's a.
Yeah, they're just commenting.
Oh, okay. Got you. Another location secured within the home. Agree. I understand it's a hard situation to figure out. Rich, it is, man. And I'll tell you, you've made great points, and I'm hearing things from both sides, and I totally get it. I'm trying to listen a lot to what people are saying and their ideas, but at the end of the day is I have to let the investigation run its course, and where we end up. Yeah. So I appreciate your post, and I totally get what you're saying. Is Gwen next, or I missed one above her?
They're talking between her and Keith.
Oh, okay. So scroll up for me just a minute.
Yeah. So the question was about gun locks. Are they free?
Oh, okay. So she's talking. Her and Keith are having a
He
conversation.
explains most stores give them away.
Got you. Okay. All right. Keith, thank you. Okay, got it. Devon,
Oops, sorry.
Cynthia.
Yes.
I live in Williamsburg, and I was aghast at the shooting of the teacher by a little boy of 6. How could the mother not know the child would have the gun? She should be held accountable. Please comment. Yeah. So, Ms. Scott, I understand. You know, we started at 6 o'clock. We've been talking about this, so I totally get it. Accountability is important. It's key. We are doing an investigation to determine just that. We're doing a lot of interviews inside the school and outside the school. We're reviewing, well, I should say this, if there are any records from Child Protective Services, that is something we would want to review. Right. And if there are any records about aggression or behavior from the schools, that is something we want to review. And rumors and things that we're hearing, that we're talking with our Commonwealth Attorney about, and we're going back and follow up on information or follow-up interviews. There's been initial interviews, but there's some that we want to go back and ask additional questions. All those things come into play, and it kind of paints a picture of did someone have knowledge? Was someone being negligent or not negligent? Did someone know? So that all those things play a piece in that puzzle of trying to figure it out. So we want to do a comprehensive investigation. We want to make sure we're thorough, that we interview the individuals we need to. If we have to go back and ask follow-up questions, and once that's completed, we will present. Was it Jeanette? Who? Cynthia will present that to our Commonwealth Attorney, and when they review all the facts, they will make the determination if there are any charges to be placed. So I hear what you're saying. I understand. I also am very cognizant that we're dealing with a a 6-year-old child. So that's why I want to make sure that that investigation is very, very thorough and accurate and presented. And I believe the detectives are doing a really good job. They're about 2 days ahead of where I thought they would be at this point, cleaning up some of those interviews and getting those interviews that we need to be completed. I'm happy with where they're at. Is it Ms. McHenry?
There's one up above that, it just.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
I would love to have a discussion as a parent and a
Yes.
peer accountable program. Wait, I got sent there.
Yeah.
I would love to have a discussion about a parents and peer accountability program. We have not my child or yeah, Devon, that's a great point. I think accountability, at the school board meeting, there was a lot of conversation about accountability. I think in our community, police department, we talk about that all the time. So I think you're great. I think that's a great idea, and I don't know that it should be led by the police department. I think that community members could lead that discussion. I enjoy going to some of these panel discussions and sitting in the audience and listening. So I think you have a great point. And Not My Child organization, it's a good program, good people with good hearts there that just want to give back and make a change. And I enjoyed listening to the presentation. So yeah, I would agree. Ms. McHenry, it's a bigger question about mental health. Not every parent's child who owns a gun goes and shoots a teacher. Like you stated earlier, it starts at home. That's a great point. We've talked a lot about that the last 10 or 12 days. And you're exactly right. I think there's some other things there that we need to make sure we look at and address and remember the age of the child that we're dealing with. And there's all kinds of stimulus and factors that come into play and situations. So I think treatment is something that we certainly want to get a comprehensive look at and response to. That's a great point. Chris, is there a discussion about taking reports more seriously and getting police involved? Should a child bring a bullet to school or make a threat or bring a firearm, and not just questioning the parent if a firearm is accessible? So, Chris, I'm on our end, and I'm only speaking for the police department. We will respond if we are notified of a situation like that. We don't take that stuff lightly. There's a couple things. Somebody, I think earlier today, asked, Chief, if you get a threat, a notification of a threat. So we would send officers to the school. We would work with, we'd ask the child to be removed. We'd have some conversation with the child. We'd reach out to the faculty and staff. Is there any issues here from the school? And then we would contact the parents. So kind of a 360 type thing to get quick information that we have. And where did this information come from? And it may be absolutely nothing. It could be someone that someone just said this, but we can't just respond. So we got to remember how credible is the information. We're going to look into that. It's not about trying to embarrass anyone, but making sure that our students are safe and threats that come in, whether they're real or fabricated, that we're still responding to understand what we have. So yeah, it's a great point. Shay, thank you for all that you and your agencies are doing in this. That's very true. Education and I think gun safety. Yes, I would agree. Those are two big key elements in this whole situation that the city of Newport News has been thrust into, and I would agree. Lisa, it is sad and unfortunate situation. The kid hopefully will get help. The teacher will be okay, and there needs to be charges. Yeah, Lisa, I hear you. I think we continue to focus on what we have and deal with what we're in the middle of, and then I think going forward, after action, what can we do? I know for us in the police department, after these situations, we'll kind of get together and talk about. I'll probably do that next week for us. Have a kind of a roundtable on our response. How did we do? What did we learn? When did we learn it? How did we handle this? How did we handle that? What did we think? Kind of a whitewash or a debrief, and it allows for some people to just speak out and talk a little bit about how they felt. So I'll probably be looking to put that together next week, just to have some good dialogue, and I think in the big picture we do that as a city would be very, very helpful. What we have and how do we move forward to continue to improve? What are some things that I saw on the police end or that others saw that I may not have seen? How can we do things better? I think that's important. Robert, Is there any fear? Is there any fear of knee-jerk reaction about making a change with? Wait, help me, Sarah. What?
With immediacy.
Especially, I think you may have mentioned in press conference that there have only been 2 other situations of the school shooting in this young child is in 50 years. Reminds me of the singular and unsuccessful airline shoe bomber, which led to a decade nationwide of asking little ladies, kids, and everyone to take off their shoes and flying. Robert, I understand what you're saying. I will tell you, there is no blueprint for this. There is no manual that says this is the way it should work every time. I think that we do need, and again, it's one of the reasons I'm slowing these detectives down. I'm not rushing them. I want a thorough investigation on how we got to this point, what actually happened, where are we at now and going forward. Working with our Commonwealth attorney, those interviews, reviewing video I want a 360 approach to this. And you're right. I don't want us to do a knee-jerk reaction, to think out. But you and I both know that there's a perception, and sometimes perception is reality. And unless there are facts to point out things, sometimes people jump to those realities. And I don't have all the answers. I wish that I did, but I don't. So I think it's going to take more than just the police department to come together and talk about this situation. I think it's our community, it's our parenting, it's our schools, it's our police, it's our professionals. I think it's our faith leaders. I think everybody has a portion to bring to the table. This is like pieces of a puzzle to put together. But I understand what you're saying, a knee-jerk reaction of let's do A, B, and C, and A and B never come into play, but C is where we really should have focused. Or maybe we didn't even look at D, and that's what we should have been focusing on. So, yeah, I think it's important to do as much thoroughness as we can, talk it through, have good discussions. Some people say, "Oh, you're just what-ifing it to death." Yes, we absolutely are. We absolutely are. Great talks today, Chief. Have to go fix dinner, unfortunately. Thanks, Sarah, for keeping the chief straight. Linda, you're killing me. You're killing me. No, enjoy dinner. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us this evening. I may go a little longer today. It's an important topic for our community. And Linda, I'm just appreciative that you took some time to join us. Send us a message and let us know what you're having for dinner, and take care.
Bye, Linda.
And Sarah said bye, and she's still not letting me touch anything.
Mm-hmm.
I missed one after Linda.
Jumped again. There you go.
Deborah, right?
Yes.
Chief Drew, good job. Your sincerity rings true. I appreciate your decision in these devotion. Deborah, thank you. I will tell you, like I said before, I am sure I have made 100 mistakes in this process. But I think if we just stay grounded and remember we're dealing with people, the humanity side, I want the investigation thorough. I realize we're dealing with the elementary school, and I realize we're dealing with that age group. I'm really realizing we have a teacher who was shot in a classroom with a bunch of other students. I'm also understand and realize that we have a 6-year-old responsible for this, and there's a lot of mitigating factors. And I don't want to lose the emotional piece. I don't want to react emotionally, but I want to be cognizant of the emotions and who we're dealing with. So I appreciate that, and I am in the department. I could not be more proud of the men and women in this organization, and I'll mention that a little bit as I close out. But thank you for that, and I appreciate you, Deborah. Thank you. Robert, have you made any progress on charges or finding the body in the case of Miss Lewis? So, Robert, there were charges placed. There's been a preliminary hearing. That case was certified to the grand jury. So it is going forward. Regrettably, we have not located Miss Yuri Lewis at this point. Still consider her as a priority for us. Detectives have worked very, very diligently. There is a lot of evidence and information on this case. But right now, to answer your question directly, we have not with the case. Arrest has been made. The charges have been placed. It has been certified to a grand jury where the individual charged is waiting a date set for trial. I hope that answers your question. It's a good question. I don't want to, although what we're dealing with right now, I don't want to lose anything of any other major cases that we're dealing with when it comes to loss of life or injury, those type things. So, Keith, Chief, you and your officers did an outstanding job. Every time I saw you on the news, I could tell how much you cared in your voice. The Newport News are lucky to have I am humbly privileged to call you a friend. Be safe and great work. Keith, I appreciate that. I don't know if other people would agree with you, and I don't even know that I do. I agree with the part about being your friend. I appreciate being able to pick up a phone and have a conversation. I certainly do not have all the answers, and I will tell you this. The men and women of this organization, sworn and civilian both, and our dispatchers, our forensic technicians, they deserve all the credit. I'll pick up the phone and have some conversations and share the great work that men and women are doing here, and I could just not be more humbled to work with such professionals. What I said earlier that I saw as we were clearing that building, some tears. They were not just all civilians. I appreciate it, Keith. Thank you, my friend. Ms. Washington, I shared this video because I am tired of people spreading rumors about the situation. I made a reel on Facebook I would love to share with you. A reel.
It's a video.
So
You
look,
can send it through Messenger.
Ms. Washington, I gotta ask my partner Sarah what a reel is. So Sarah, it's a message. It's a
video
Oh, okay. So Ms. Washington, yeah, please, if you can send it to us
through Messenger.
through Messenger. Is that the right term?
Mhm.
Through Messenger, whoever the messenger is. But if you know Facebook, I guess you'll know what it is. But if you send it to us, I would love to take a look at it. Absolutely, and I appreciate that. And you know, I understand rumors are going to fly. If sometimes individuals don't know answers, they'll take bits and pieces. They put that together. I get it. We're all human, and I totally understand. But yeah, I would love to take a look at what you have. If you send it out, I will watch it. Lenny, being we are coming on our 3rd-year anniversary of the loss of Officer Thine, do you have any plans to memorialize her? So I will tell you, Winnie, we memorialize every officer that we've lost in this city that has given their life. You know, you were just a few weeks away from Police Week. If you walk in police headquarters, there are a portrait of every individual that has given their life in the line of duty. There's also a monument that we have in our city where names are added on a plaque down by City Hall for police and firemen who have given their life in the line of duty. Every year on their anniversary on our Facebook page and social media, we post a little bit about that officer on their anniversary of their death, remembering them. There's, of course, the wall in Richmond, our state capital. I was actually working in Richmond when that came to fruition. And then, of course, the monument up in D.C. where those names are etched, and we'll send officers to those ceremonies again this year. So I think the department does a pretty good job. You know, the men and women who've given their life, not just here in Newport News, but across the country. I remember the ceremonies in Richmond, the ceremonies here in Newport News. I try to attend all the ceremonies in the surrounding jurisdictions. I think that's important. And if you weren't aware, we just had a deputy sheriff out of Chesapeake just last week that suffered a gunshot wound in the apprehension, or the attempted apprehension of a homicide suspect. Gunfire was exchanged. I'm glad to say that deputy went home today, and there was a little small sea of blue lights escorting him from the hospital and his family back on interstate as he went home. But God blessed him and allowed him to heal. I'm so thankful. But I'm thankful for every person that joins this department and puts their life in harm's way. And there's no amount of money that could pay them enough to do that. I think it's a heart of service. We come right out of celebrating the anniversary of Martin Luther King, where officers and students, police explorers and volunteers and sororities, fraternities, faith leaders joined us at the food bank as individuals dropped off food, and we spent 4 or 5 hours collecting food. We celebrate that as that's one of the things we do for service for Martin Luther King Day is something that we come together to do. And I just think that heart of service, you know, it can't put a price on it. It's caring about others, and that's important. So I hope that answers your question. She is, I will tell you, she is memorialized in all of our hearts and minds. And sometimes, that's get me choked up. Sometimes I will look back at some videos we've done with Katie and just remember. Linda, cube steak. Oh, here we go. Cube steak, mashed potatoes, gravy, and vegetables. You're killing me, Linda. You're killing me. Cube steak, mashed potatoes, gravy, and vegetables. That beats the heck out of my TV dinner. I'm just letting you know. That's great. Enjoy. Robin, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate that. Kristen, well, it was scary. Every second counts, and the speed in which your team responded was outstanding. No matter our actions, we always can be critical and talk about doing things better. But still, your team did a great job, and you're right. And you're right. Thorough is better than a quick answer as far as investigation. Can I quote you? Can I just take that blip, that blurb, and post it? No, you're absolutely right. The men and women who rushed through those doors, the deputy sheriffs and the officers just did an amazing job, not knowing what they would find on the other end. And I am, like you said, before I close out, I'm going to have a message for them. But I appreciate you so much for what you just said. Thank you. Annie, thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Rivera, thanks for the increased patrolling in the Atkinson Speedway. Go Raiders. Well, I appreciate that. I know there's been a lot of questions on speeding. I will tell you that our staffing level is not where I want it to be. One of the things I meant to share with you is that we have a class graduating on March the 24th. I'm inviting the community to come out and see these 20 police recruits walk across the stage, graduate our police academy, get pinned on by a family member. I'll have a few words. We might have a guest speaker. We always have a high school student as a guest speaker. But I'm trying to get back to that. We always got to focus on our violent crime first. I don't want a short patrol. That's the backbone of this organization. But I should share with you, we have 20 recruits that are graduating on March the 24th. We've got 28 recruits that are starting on February 1st. Now, it takes them about 8 months to graduate. And then we have 2 officers who are coming to us from other departments that want to come here and work. So I'm excited, but yes, I know there were some issues on speeding on Atkinson Way, and we were trying to address that as much as we can, I promise. Sarah, hit me back up a little bit.
Yep.
There'll be one above Robert. Did I miss? Rivera, got it. Okay, good. Robert, thank you, Chief. Doing a great job. I appreciate you being, well, Robert, thank you. I don't know about, but I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. We will take flowers to the site. Shay, thank you. I appreciate that. Keith, please let your recruiters know our big May event in Ashland is on Saturday, May 21st this year. You will always have a standing invite to attend, and I will have Mountain. Now look, Keith, it's Diet Mountain Dew, my friend. I'm getting older. I got to watch his diet. See, it's not Diet Mountain Dew. Still got to get the belt fastened, right? Diet Mountain Dew. Blow pops are the best, and I certainly will be up there. I look forward to it, and I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. Annie, she'll be at, absolutely. Nope, Annie, good. Come down Sunday and leave flowers, just visit, okay? And class graduation is 2 days before my birthday, March 26th. Well, congratulations early on your birthday. You come out and join us on the 24th. We might come find you on the 26th. I look forward to it. Scroll back up for me. Did I miss anybody? Got it. And does that say New York Giants? Is that what it was? Okay. New York Giants. I got you. Okay. All right. Many people feel the need to have guns to keep their family safe, but the number of studies do not support that. I had an uncle that killed him. Wow. And I was almost shot by my own mother when I was mistaken for a home invader when I was sleepwalking. Our guns had locks and ammos, were separately stored, but there was more danger than protection. I strongly advise against partnering with the NRA, organization that block common sense gun safety and push for increased gun ownership. I would encourage our community to support social safety net programs and access to health care so that people are less motivated to own and use guns. I do not own a firearm, and I encourage others to abstain. Stacy, I appreciate and respect your words. I get it, and I wish there was an answer for a lot of it. I don't even want to go. I appreciate that, Stacy. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate that. So it's 7:04. Have I talked to everybody? Haven't skipped anybody?
I think so. We're caught up.
So let me just close out with this. And it's sort of the same way I tried to close out this afternoon. Actually, I'll be there. Well, okay then. That's what I'm talking about. BLE 31. So then I'll see you then on the 24th. I don't know about that New York Giants thing. I don't know. Let me just close out with this. January 6th, 2023 was a tragic day for our community and our city. Not just for those individuals, especially for those individuals, I should say, that work at Rich Neck Elementary and those that go there for learning. But also, not just, it also affected this community, this department, our school system. And I saw a lot of people spring into action. I saw deputy sheriffs and officers rush into a building. I saw a 6-year-old that had brought a firearm to school, display it, fire it, and be taken into custody and be escorted out of that building. I saw a teacher who suffered a gunshot wound in her classroom, evacuate her classroom, the last one to leave, and turn around halfway down the hall to make sure they were out. I saw firemen and police officers and deputy sheriffs and faculty and staff remove students room by room, hallway by hallway, into a gymnasium or an area where they were kept and interacted with until they could be reunited with their parents. I saw a building search that went through a tactical situation, but also strategic, knowing that we were dealing with such young people. And we found young students that had been hiding in certain areas. I saw tears and smiles, high fives and handshakes, and not just on students and not just on faculty members of the school, not just school employees, but on officers. I saw people working together, counselors coming in and working together and reunite children with their parents. Parents that were frustrated and just wanted to get, I saw parents who were frustrated in line, but when they got a hold of their child, that frustration became tears and just hugging each other. I saw school board officials there for support. I saw our mayor there that walked the line with me, sharing information with people about what we had and what we were trying to do. I saw a lot of individuals keeping a stressful situation as calm as humanly possible in an unprecedented set of circumstances that we had. I've seen detectives work through the night, Commonwealth attorneys interacting. I've seen press conferences and vigils, and I've seen our city coming together to talk about an issue of gun violence and the tragedy that happened. I've interacted with the family at a hospital multiple times and interacted with Miss Abby Zwerner, who I believe is a hero, and had conversations with her. And in all those things, her words pushed me back against the wall when she asked, "How are my students?" I want to thank the men and women in this organization for the work that they do day in and day out, but the work that they did on the afternoon of January the 6th. The stuff that we train about and talk about and go over was put into play. I want to thank the school system for allowing us to work with them and do our active shooter training in the summer so that all the schools had that experience. And I saw it come into play on January the 6th. It was a hard situation. Our dispatchers that dispatched the scene and the situation were not able to see it, but just hear it and take the phone calls that were coming in from communities and residents and all the different media outlets from around the country that not only have called, but some that swarmed on that campus. I appreciate you. I saw you, the interaction you have and had. For the officers that handled the variety of calls that were still going on in our community while others were responding to Rich Neck Elementary. I'm proud of you, all of you. From our forensic technician that processed the crime scene at an elementary school. I'm proud of you. And I'm thankful and honored to work with such great, talented men and women. This is a great city and it's a great community. We have our issues and troubles just like everyone else. But how we come together and move forward defines us. I don't have all the answers. I don't have a blueprint. But when a tragedy happens, the way you responded, I cannot be more impressed. And I just wanted to tell you thank you. Before I get off here, I want to make sure I didn't see who did I made fun of my giant. Yep, Annie, thank you, Chief, and Sarah for all that you do for Annie. Thank you, and thank you for recognizing Sarah. She keeps me on track.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you got it. Is it Karen? Karen, doing great. Karen, thank you. I appreciate that. Kristen, thank you, Chief and crew. Much gratitude and many prayers for the safety of all that you do daily. Stay safe and keep fighting the good fight. Kristen, I'm going to take it day by day, and thank you. I'll take every one of those prayers. Jennifer, thanks to Newport News Police Department, and thank you, sir, for your. Jennifer, thank you. I appreciate you, and thanks for being here tonight. So it's 7:09. I think I've hit everyone. If I missed anyone, I apologize. I didn't touch anything electronic. Sarah made it all come together. Shay, thank you. I'll take it, and I appreciate that. Please take care of one another. Look out for one another. As the next couple weeks, I'm sure we'll bring up more questions, but I believe we are stronger together. And I appreciate how the community has come together in conversations that we're having. Kristen, if you message us, I hit that earlier. I can tell you that we're making progress. I don't want to go back over that again, but we talked a little bit about that. I have been briefed on that, and that is a hard case, but we're moving in the right direction. And there's been some, we do have progress in that case. So again, thank you all tonight. I'm going to get off here. Thanks for spending some time with me. And you know, part of the reason we do this is that you can watch it at different times. I know there's hustle and bustle of things going on. We'll do this again next month. But God bless you all, and thanks for spending some time with us. Take care. Thank you, Christine.